As Ontarians wait for a snap election to be officially called on Wednesday, the Ford government unleashed numerous last-second spending announcements today. Premier Doug Ford has said he will meet with the Lieutenant Governor tomorrow to trigger a vote on February 27th. Jason Gaidola joining us live in studio with more on this. Jason.
Matt, the PC's unveiled additional investments into transportation, energy, and healthcare today, a very highly contentious topic in the province.
The choice that people are going to have over the next 30 days will affect every aspect of their life and their kids' lives and their grandchildren's lives for the next 20 to 30 years.
That was Premier Doug Ford last Friday, justifying his desire to call a snap election. And U.S. tariff threats aside, the PC government appear to be getting ahead on provincial files before the writ is dropped this week. The Ford government unleashed a dozen funding announcements today, new investments into energy, transit, homelessness, and health care.
To be able to turn around and propose this $1.8 billion investment, ensuring that 10%, the last remaining 10% of Ontarians who don't have a family physician have that opportunity, I am incredibly grateful.
This morning, Health Minister Sylvia Jones says with the help from former federal Liberal Health Minister Jane Philpott, the province is looking to ensure every Ontarian has primary care by 2029.
So great that they hired on Jane Philpott. I hope they follow her recommendations. But don't you think they've had 7 years to act? 7 years that have been squandered? 2.5 million people without a family doctor?
Opposition parties were out of the gate today as well. Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie is promising more doctors and redoing government deals like the recent alcohol rollout in corner stores. The Ontario Liberals have also sent a letter to Elections Ontario and the province's Integrity Commissioner regarding election rules that limit government activity during a campaign and Ford's work against U.S. tariff threats that may involve taxpayer dollars.
Instead of focusing on the needs of Ontarians, he wants to go to Washington. He's going to potentially violate the caretaker convention rule when he didn't do it in 2022, didn't go to Ottawa to check on the damage from the massive tornado.
Ford also said last Friday he will maintain his duties as premier during the election, one the Financial Accountability Office says will cost $175 million.
He has a government that is under RCMP criminal investigation right now, and he thinks he can race to the polls and have people forget that. I don't think people are going to forget that.
Meanwhile, Ontario NDP leader Mart Stiles made a bold promise today, saying she will redo the 407 deal and make it toll-free, undoing former Premier Mike Harris's deal back in the 1990s.
But look, I think we have leverage here. This company's already been left off the hook at $1 billion fine that they should have paid for the fact that the 407 isn't getting used enough. And then just this January, the government's, the tolls on the 407 went up again.
I think the opposition parties are not as ready as they claim to be. I mean, they said, Ford's been trumping this election, warning us it's been coming for quite a while.
Political analyst Keith Leslie says with just weeks away from the ballot boxes, all parties have work ahead of them, like selecting all of their candidates.
Both opposition parties have to pick an issue that's really going to resonate with voters. The NDP going after the 407 tolls, it's almost predictable in a sense. I mean, it's a very good catchphrasey one. I mean, people will pay attention to it, but they'll also wonder if the NDP can afford to pay for that kind of thing.
Now, late this afternoon, Ontario's Education Minister Jill Dunlop announced that the province is sinking $1.3 billion to build 30 new schools and expand 15 others in order to create new space for roughly 25,000 students.